Welcome back, Bottle Killers. This is our last in a triple header of new releases that we've had this week at Bottle Kill Studios.
Steamroller in them. I didn't even get changed.
Didn't you get changed? We're wearing this all through
no
reviews.
No 3, 2, 1. Just straight in.
Rolling. We're rolling, baby. We're rolling.
Like,
And,
like the grey horse at the Grand National, straight out the gates.
straight out the gates. No rider. And so now we're going Glen Scotia. Glen Scotia Campbeltown release.
Yeah.
So what is the release? What have they done this year? I was just saying to you just off air, just beforehand, that the Glen Scotia White Port, 11-year-old, which was I think 2 years ago, has become a real cult release, and that was one of your whiskies of the year. The first year we did our whiskies of the year, last January, and it's become a bit of a cult release. So I
like to think that's because people watched that episode, and but obviously it's not.
We went to a ban and they said that they have to go on the black market or the auctions to get this to kind of keep it in stock because people like it.
Yeah,
and they like to give it to people. So this could be great.
Yeah, well, I'm a big fan of Glen Scotia. Of the Campbeltown distilleries, it's one that you can actually buy in a shop. So bonus points for that, Glen Scotia. But jokes aside, I've always been a big fan since the double cask. The 25-year-old is one of my all-time favourite whiskies. I really love the character of it. What we have here today is the 2025 Campbeltown Malts release, which is a 9-year-old. So we've got an age statement. It's bottled at 54.3%, and it started its life in bourbon casks, as many of these whiskies do. But it's been finished in red wine casks from Spain. So, Ribeiro del Duero. Do not pull me up on the pronunciation. I'm not a wine guy. I'm a whiskey guy. But fancy red wine casks from Spain, giving it a nice finish. And it's heavily peated as well.
Okay, lovely stuff. And I have to admit, Glen Scotia, we went to Glen Scotia last August.
So good.
And,
what a tasting.
We loved it. We were hosted by a lady called Cheryl, who was absolutely fantastic, salt of the earth. Her and one of our guys, Canadian Jay, you've probably might have seen on the channel before. We're trying to get Oasis tickets. It was that daily Oasis tickets table, and Ticketmaster no one could get them, and it was just treated like a star as always. And I always think Glen Scotia, they do have a little bit of a... It's not Springbank's fault, but I always think when I go to Springbank, quite often a lot of the staff are like shop worn. It's almost like they have to go to battle every day.
What?
And at Springbank, they just like they don't do anything necessarily to make you feel special. They don't do anything wrong, but it's kind of almost like it's kind of like the the teacher at school. It's like I can't do it for you because I'd have to do it for everybody else.
Yeah,
and so we won't do it. It's kind of like that vibe at Springbank, whereas Glen Scotia is they roll out the red carpet.
Oh yeah,
they're introducing you to you're kissing babies on the head in Glen Scotia. They're introducing you to the kids and everything. It's a great environment. I like it.
And I would say to anybody that's a fan of Campbeltown whiskey that isn't up to speed on Glen Scotia, I'd start getting involved, and maybe this is a good place for you to start. It's £68. They're owned by Loch Lomond, and that's another distillery that I will give a really big shout out. Exactly, up and comers. And this is the thing, like what you get with both of these distilleries, Glen Scotia and Loch Lomond, is they're still easily accessible. They're putting out absolutely fantastic stuff, really, really good stuff, at a nice price point, which is affordable, quality, value, really good. So yeah, keen to dive into this one.
The only beef I had with Glen Scotia, not really a beef, but the reason I didn't maybe clock onto them as quickly as you did was the lack of age statements. They have a lot of named whiskies, like the Victoriana.
Yeah, but that's an
double wood.
Excellent. The double wood is excellent,
and it's fantastic. And people know how old these are if you do the research.
And
but
I'm
talking
funny?
about picking them off a shelf. I kind of, when you're younger in your whiskey journey, you're really looking for an age statement. At least it's semi-honest. Do you know what I mean? And so that's why you go for it. That's why you pick it. So I missed out on a lot of Glen Scotias. It's only when we started to do the you've been passing them to me, and then we went, that I've got way more of an appreciation for how great they are.
Definitely. The warm-up dram that we had today.
Oh, fantastic.
Glen Scotia 10-year-old. It's 40%, and it was on Nectar card offer in Sainsbury's. It was 30 quid. So
bite the hand off.
They've put out a 10-year-old age statement for £30 now. The double cask used to be the kind of entry level. I rate that very highly. That is an absolute go-to, always on the shelf for me. I have no bones about that being a no-age statement because it's just consistent and quality.
Well, no one's ever complained about their whiskies. I'm just saying that's why I never personally picked it off the shelf. I think people will be able to relate to that as well.
But straight into this. This is the Glen Scotia character immediately for me comes through. What you get with Scotia is you get a lovely, unmistakable saline, salty kind of quality.
So saline.
The maritime. Think if you're acquainted with the old Pulteney 12-year-old, think about that kind of coastal maritime sea spray. Immediately, like you close your eyes, you could just be on a beach in Scotland on the coast. You know, just
it's like if you've got hay fever over the summer, don't go to Boots and get a saline spray. Just put some Scotia in a bottle.
Yeah,
it'll sort you out. Sort the hay fever
just
right out.
Get it? Yeah, exactly. So yeah, incredible character. Now this is heavily peated. I do get peat on the nose, and again, this is a different kind of style of peat for me, which Campbeltown peat tends to be. I couldn't, you couldn't quote me on where they get their peat from. I would imagine it's more kind of mainline peat, so it's quite vegetal, kind of savoury. You know, like that earthy kind of peat as opposed to the very ashy or the very medicinal peat. I call this like an earthy kind of vegetal, farmy kind of peat, that kind of vibe.
Yeah, so I know Springbank is very much
the funk,
very very local, right?
Yeah,
that's one of the things you do. I like to do everything within a small little fortress. Glen Scotia being part of a bigger group, I'm guessing they have a bigger ecosystem on these things. They group purchase, they buy in bulk, they send stuff.
Very true.
Different places of bottling and maturing and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem like too big a distillery when you're there, does it? It's quite.
Oh no! It's really small. It's old school. It's it's lovely. It's just, in fact, you could walk along that road and not even notice it's there. Like, it's so quaint. It's just.
I wonder how many people do.
Yeah. Just over the other side of the kind of bay, isn't it?
But definitely worth the visit.
100%. Yeah. I mean, so the first time that we actually went to Campbeltown, Glen Scotia wasn't on our itinerary, but we walked over at lunch just to go, and I picked up a bottle. It was a 7-year-old heavily peated bourbon cask, and it was one of the best whiskies that I'd ever had. Unfortunately, it's bottle killed now, and it's irreplaceable because you're talking this was 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, of the whole trip, I got this bottle from the distillery that we weren't even visiting, like trekked over that bay to go to the distillery and picked a distillery exclusive, and it was like absolute highlight of the whiskey tour. So yeah, I want to try and give an objective opinion, but I do. There's a special place in my heart for Glen Scotia.
Yeah, I'm a big fan. So this one, I needed a little bit of water right away. It just wasn't. What percentage is it?
54.3.
Okay, so it is
54.3. Yeah, I think a few drops is a good idea. Just to go into, so as we've said, with the nose, you've got that lovely salinity, you've got the smokiness coming through. Red fruits, apples and red fruits, some strawberry. So yeah, I'd say they're my kind of dominant characteristics from the nose is that coastal salinity, saltiness, the peat smoke, which is like an earthy kind of peat smoke, and then your fruits, which are your kind of sweet, your strawberries, and then but going into the palate, is instantly again fruity, red fruits, jammy, those kind of flavors.
Mm-hmm. So this interesting mix of,
I don't want to say it, but caramel, leaning towards the caramel apple
Bessies,
caramel apple Betty. But you definitely get the wine influence as well.
But it's got this really interesting mix. Just on the if you just go back to the nose, it's got the saline, it's got the earthy, but it's also got the fruit. It's got the sweet. So it's kind of like an interesting little try. Of really interesting noses.
The Holy Trinity, the 3 S's: sweet, salty, and smoky.
Yeah, if that's not a thing, it should be.
Yeah, it's. But you like wine casks as well, don't you? Red wine casks. You're a fan.
But I'm not getting your typical red wine cask from this.
See, I do. I do get the, especially in the finish, the kind of the not the cloying kind of dryness. Like, see, that's why I don't like the red wine casks. Like, you like the ones that have got the real heavy red wine influence, where like
Super dry. Yeah.
after you finished it, it's like you can't even open your mouth. It's like your tongue is like stuck to the roof of your mouth. You're like, I can still taste it like half an hour later. I'm like, this for me has got just enough for it to be like, I can see the influence of it and I get a little bit of the dryness, but I enjoy that, but I don't like too much. It's like they've just got the balance just right for me, but that's just my personal.
This is one of my favourite nose and whiskies of all time.
So Glen Scotia whiskies are just
a bit
so
of
good
water.
to
This
nose
is just you can just buy it to nose.
Yeah. And it does have that
Absolutely
kind
lush.
of strawberry Campino, those vanilla strawberry kind of hard-boiled sweets, like really nice on the nose.
And it's very strong. It is strong.
Super strong, isn't it?
And that's had some water in it as well, and it's still strong.
And that's the interesting thing. So this is, you'll see in the background, we got the Ardbeg Eureka, which was £72. It's a no-age statement. We got the Ardnamurchan Mezcal Cask Release, which is about 7.5 years old, bottled at 55%, and this one is a 9-year-old age statement, and it's 54.3%. Now, the Ardnamurchan of the three is the highest ABV, but probably drinks the smoothest. It does not need any water. Now, this is, I agree with you, you're splitting hairs. It's 54.3. It's like 0.7% lower than the Ardnamurchan. But in terms of the impact on your tongue is miles apart, right, isn't it? Like, this feels like strong,
Thick smog.
napalm in the morning kind of vibes. Like, it does kind of...
You breathe in and you get the...
take you away a little
fumes,
bit. Yeah. Very smoky. And maybe that's because it's heavily peated as well.
Yeah.
I think the peat levels in this are a lot higher than the Ardnamurchan, which probably plays a part. Licorice as well, a little licoricey.
Very licoricey, yeah.
A bit of that anise licorice kind of flavour.
That's more the street it's going down. It's like the licoricey route, isn't it? Which is interesting because it was so sweet on the nose, so fruity on the nose, but it's way more of the licorice all sorts on the.
Well, again, but that's when you get those layers. And we talked about the layers on the nose of like the sweetness, the saltiness, and the smokiness.
Complexity.
And that contrast, like, really, it works. It's like when people say, put some black pepper on your strawberries. Like, you've got the savoury and you've got the strawberry, the fruit.
Yeah.
So it's working really well. I like that. I like that licorice kind of note. I get the sweetness as well, even on the palate. And then just enough dryness. I'm even going to put a couple more drops of water in it just to really open it up.
So yeah, I think what this one is it's not so much of a sipper. It's more of a complex one. It's one.
Definitely.
It's a little will do a lot for you.
Definitely more fruits coming through with the extra water. I mean, you could probably go like 60-40 on whiskey and water with this one.
Oh, easy.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know what I'm thinking on it.
Perplexed. I think for me,
it's really perplexing.
It's a challenging whiskey, and I do you know what? We've just come off the back of, we really like the Ardnamurchan Mezcal cask, and like you've got that recency bias, you've got that, you're anchored to, I've just tried something really, really good that absolutely hits the spot. Like for us, that Ardnamurchan could be like a 9 out of 10 whiskey. Like I already called it as potentially one of the whiskies of 2025.
Yeah.
And it's like when we did Ardnahoe with the Octomore, it wasn't like, it's not fair. You've got to kind of like step away. What I think you get with this Glen Scotia is it's a whiskey you want to sit there with and sort of try it again, put some water in it, experiment with it, challenge it. Whereas like the Ardnamurchan, I mean, it's like just drink it because it's so good. Like it's just hitting the spot. Two completely different.
And I wouldn't even say it was what you would say if you were really into red wine casks. Buy this.
No,
I would say if you want to buy a really challenging whiskey,
yeah,
buy this.
agree. Yeah. Is it my favourite Glen Scotia ever? No. Do I think it's a really good, interesting whiskey? Yeah, 100%. Is it worth the money? Without question. Is it a buy? Yeah, that's it.
So what do you remember? Do you remember back? It was probably a little while ago now, but do you remember what you loved so much about the Glen Scotia White Port? Because that's become a cult classic.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's just that, like,
What's the age statement on this? Is it because that was 11 the White Port? What is this?
9.
9. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's just that instant drinkability is sometimes a whiskey just sings to you, like it just hits all the right notes, and it's like, you know, like for that moment in time, that's just what you want. That's what you're into. But I went through a bottle of it, got a replacement. There's still a tiny little bit left. I'm up until recently, I know there was still a few bottles available. Like people were saying, oh, you know, they're all on auction, and there are places you can still get them for retail. And I was, again, maybe I'll get a third bottle. There's only a few bottles of whiskey that I've triple bought. I've bought a lot of backups. You know, I bought the Bruichladdich 18 twice. But to buy the same bottle of whiskey 3 times, you know, you must really like it. And yeah, the White Port one was a special one for me. Really good. What I liked about it, just interesting. There was a few distilleries that did White Port around that time. I know Glencadam did it. I think Lefroy did White Port as well. It just worked so well, that sweetness with the maritime character. It was probably, you know, the age statement was right. It just hit all the right notes.
And then we did actually do a review on the channel, but I can't remember it, of the last year's Campbeltown release. That was a 9-year-old. It was at a blue label. Do you remember what that one was? Fino
Sherry, wasn't it? Yeah, purpley blue kind of label. Yeah, again, wasn't my favourite. I'd even go as far as to say I was like a little bit underwhelmed by it, again, because Fino is a drier type of sherry, and that sort of really dry red wines, really sort of dry sherry, it doesn't work for me personally. That doesn't mean to say like other people wouldn't enjoy it, but just it's not my it's not my bag.
Not my bag, baby.
Not my bag, baby.
Book saying Fino Sherry, written by James Brett. It's my bag, baby. Okay, well let's review it then. If you're gonna give it a mark out of 10, what would you give it?
Again, I'd give it a solid 7, which is maybe a 7. It's a good whiskey. Yeah, I'm not like sitting on the fence with that. I think it deserves. But I caveat that with saying that it's a whiskey for an experienced whiskey drinker, a whiskey drinker that likes to be challenged, that likes to sit with a glass. It's not afraid to put a few drops of water in it to try it again, pour it without, you know. This bottle will last you a long time, because you're not going to, you know, drink it over a weekend or drink it even over a few weeks. It's one that you will go back to each time you go back to it. You'll probably find something new. It's got that complexity. Solid 7.
It's got the complexity and the perplexity.
Yeah.
I'm perplexed by it. I don't know if I can give it a score. I really don't know what I feel about it. This is one where we need to get maybe Dariush and Canadian J up and we try it together, and maybe people can offer a few insights about it. Maybe that will help me integrate my thoughts a little bit, because I'm totally baffled by it, because I like it, but I don't know why. And I think just following the Ardnamurchan, I'm not quite giving it the it's not quite doing it in the way that maybe it could.
Yeah, I'd say that, and I think that definitely plays a part. Now that you've mentioned Dariush, I got it so this was, again, it's one of those where if you subscribe, like you got exclusive access. So I got it before it was released. I think it's now on the market, with April, and the Malts Festival is in May next month. So, but I got the exclusive access to it, and as soon as it was delivered, I went out there and said to, my friends who drink whiskey, like, this is really good, and Dariush bought a bottle.
Ooh, whiskey friend.
It's integrity though, isn't it? You got to have integrity with your whiskey
friends let each other know when whiskey's released.
They do, don't they?
Apart from if it's the turbo.
If it's the turbo. It's going to be coming out again this year though, so we'll see. Maybe I'll get 4 bottles this year. Or 5. Glenallachie are doing well. Glenallachie just got, I think, World's Best Single Malt at the same awards that Ardbeg got.
What age?
The 12-year-old.
Nice.
I've not tried it yet, but it's put it on my radar, and I think we should get a bottle and do it for the channel this year, because we like Glenallachie as well.
Because this is
and that's another place we had a great experience.
This is the thing. When you go on like your 3rd or your 4th tour to Scotland, what you start to do is you start to do the warehouse tasting, and you start to do the rarer tasting. Yep. And so you can go to a distillery and not actually try their core range.
Yeah.
And so when you see Glenallachie, I barely know what they do in their core range. I know the Meikle tour a lot better.
Yeah.
But because we just got like 4 rare whiskies.
Yeah, they were all there. Like single casks.
Yeah, one-off releases, one-off makes that I've never tried their core range, interestingly enough. Even though
same.
I think very highly of them because
much.
I had such a great experience at the distillery itself.
Yeah, I've got a few sort of, not the core range. I always used to get the 10-year-old cask strength, which is very heavily sherried. But again, like the age statements, I can't remember, like, other than the 10-year-old cask strength, ever having one. But definitely, I will get a bottle of the 12-year-old.
I think it's important to get while they're at they seem to be in their pomp at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what, and it's the same guy that was what's his name? Billy Walker. So he was at Glendronach, and they say Glendronach has gone down after it got bought. It went off the hill by Brown Foreman, and then he went and did his next project, and he obviously doing great stuff. And so you want to get him while he's in his pomp.
Exactly.
While he's experimenting, building these things. Yeah. So interesting. Well, we went on a real tangent there.
That's fine. That's what we're here for, right?
So okay. Well, what we'll do is we'll see him out. So Bottle Killer, take him out.
Well, thanks once again for joining us. I hope you've had a good time. I've had a good time. Michael, have you had a good time?
It's a bye.
And we'll see you next time on Bottle Kill TV. Stay tuned. So, as we always do on the channel, we've got a very brief 2-minute review for you, just so you can get the height of the tasting notes of the Glen Scotia 9-year-old Campbeltown Malts 2025, should I say, festival release. And Michael's going to kick us off with this one.
Complexity and perplexity. So I am
way.
completely perplexed by this whiskey. I don't know how to rate it. You come in with your biases, and my biases being like, I like red wine casks, I like Glen Scotia. This one I just can't figure out. Well, alliteration aside, Scotia has definitely got the 3 S's of success, which is saltiness, smokiness, and sweetness. It is. It's a lovely saline nose with that maritime character of classic Glen Scotia. It's got the sweetness of the red wine cask, so think like strawberry, vanillas, Campino sweets, boiled strawberry sweets, as well as that really nice smokiness, earthy vegetal smoke from the heavily peated casks. And then what we get on the palate is a really complex, challenging dram. It doesn't suffer from a few drops of water, but you'll get some drier notes, some fruity notes. There's licorice in there, spices, anise. It's punchy, it's salty, and it's got a really, really long, lingering finish. It's a bit dry in some of those oaky kind of tannins from the wine casks, but it's definitely one that you want to sit down with, take your time with, experiment and enjoy. A very solid whiskey, a good release for the festival. One of the best noses.
The nose, yeah.
Ever of a whiskey. This nose is absolutely insane.
The nose is the highlight.
When it got to the actual, it was a little too challenging for me right now tonight as I sit in this spot. So I'm going to go back to this one and see what I think of it. But it's the nose. It's worth trying. If you get a sample just for the nose in itself.
Yeah, 10 out of 10 for the nose.
Unbelievable nose.
Incredible. So yeah, thanks once again for joining us. Hope you enjoyed the 2-minute review, and do subscribe to the channel. We'd love you to come back, and we look forward to seeing you next time on Bottle Kill TV. Stay tuned.